Welcome back to our first episode now, where we are talking about family matters, where the law meets life. So, Rose,
Yes.
you started by introducing to us about the formation of a family. And like I
Yes.
said, I think even the general person out there thinks we just join a family because I'm born there or because I got married there. So tell us, so how, if that's not how I join a family legally, how then do I join a family?
You know, Maggie, I always say the law has found, it's like it has found itself in all of the things that we do. So even in the creation of a family, it has actually put down the law of how it should be done. If, for example, we're going to talk about marriage, okay? So first of all, we have the Constitution. And the Constitution, as we know, is the one that sets out the basics of how law shall be. And the family finds herself in the Constitution, where a special space is kept for family, with the law saying that this is the fundamental unit of society. Okay, so we can see how highly
Placed and value.
exactly family is by law. Then, from the Constitution, we now have specific laws, which we call statutes, that now will deal with marriages, for example. And it's very clearly written in there, provided for, that there are 5 forms of marriages that will be recognized in Kenya. The first one, in no particular order, will be the civil marriage. This is the one that people will go, say, to the Attorney General's office. You go, you have a witness, and you get a marriage done there.
We used to call it the DO's office.
So now we call it the Attorney General's or Sharia house, where you go and you have your marriage there. Then we have the Christian marriage. People also call it the statutory marriage, where now people go to the church in the usual way. You know, you've got your best white dress on and he's got his tuxedo on, and you have that marriage.
Yes.
Okay? Then we'll have the Hindu marriage. And that is specifically, of course, for the Hindus. We have the Islamic marriage. And then finally, we have the customary marriage. So what are some of the things to note with these marriages? When you talk about the Attorney General marriage or the civil marriage and the Christian marriage and also the Hindu marriage, these ones are said to be monogamous. So it means one husband, one wife. Okay? And more than that, you will be committing a crime called bigamy. All right? And with the other two, the Islamic marriage and the customary marriage, those ones are potentially polygamous. So when you get into an Islamic marriage, you should know, say as the wife, there is a potential that 3 other women may come to join and be wives. For the customary marriage, there is no stoppage as to how many may come, but as you get into a customary marriage, then you do know that potentially your husband may bring in another wife. Okay. Now, in all of these marriages, there are certain things which we call the essentials of a marriage. The first one being that the parties who are getting married must be of majority age. They are not children. And in Kenya, the majority age will be 18.
18 years.
Okay? So you must have at least attained the age of 18. There's a bit of controversy with customary marriages because, of course, we know that there were some cultures that would have their girls marry when they are younger than 18. But as per the law, because in all of this, even as we try to bring in our cultural issues onto the law, we have to be careful to protect the children of our land. So the age is 18. The other thing is that they must have given their consent. All right? Again, we know that in the Hindu marriages and in the customary marriages, sometimes it would be arranged. But now it is important that those people who are coming in so that they can contract the marriage, because it's a contract, have to have given their consent. Okay? Then there's one last thing, and this one will especially be in all the marriages except the Islamic marriage. We call it degree of consanguinity, and I will explain. It is that the law is keen to ensure that people don't marry on their bloodline. Yeah. So if, for example, a family has adopted a daughter, their son, their biological son, cannot marry that biological daughter, or the father, for that instance, if his wife dies or is no longer there anymore, cannot marry an adopted daughter. Brothers will not marry sisters. Uncles will not marry their nieces. So that's what we call the degree of consanguinity.
When you talk about that, and thank you so much for enlightening us. So let me pick the traditional marriage. The others sounds like clear cut.
Right.
So there is the come we stay. In this customary marriage, how many can this man register?
Okay. Good question. And first of all, we have to be very clear. Come we stay is not a customary marriage.
Yes.
Customary marriages, each community will have the essentials or the ingredients of their marriage so that it can actually be termed as a customary marriage. For example, if it's say in the Akikuyu community, there'll be Kohadaidege, there'll be Kurashia, there'll be Gurario. So there'll be those aspects.
Yes.
When you go to the Luo community, there'll be Aye. Yeah. So there'll be steps that are taken that people can now say this is indeed a customary marriage. Now, how many can that person get in a customary marriage? It depends on each community. But as far as I know it, for as long as the fellow maybe has enough to feed one more and her brood, he will can still marry. The law doesn't say it will be this number. It doesn't.
It's open.
It's open.
So, me joining a family, then you're telling us legally the family starts by marriage.
Yes.
And then now there'll be the children who are born into this marriage.
Correct.
And now that's where now the continuation happens.
That's the continuation happens. But of course, we also have to, the reality on the ground is that families may be formed through marriage, but there are also families that are formed in single parent families. So there will not be less of families because it's not a man, a wife, and his children.
It's not a nuclear.
It's not what
class, what we've been socialized as.
Correct.
This is what
it might be a woman and her children, and she didn't get married. That shall not be said to have less rights, or her children, for that matter, have less rights because they are not being created or formed in the family unit as we know it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for enlightening us, and we are going to keep it here because when we come back, then we are going to pick it from here where we're talking about the formation. Now the family is formed through whatever, way they got married. We'll start from there. And then now you will walk us through. So what about children? And you'll walk us through what happens now after the children are there. And like you said in the introduction, in the eventuality that this marriage, something happens and it doesn't work. And it will also be very important for you to walk us through then what are the boundaries? When it comes to my parents, your parents, our siblings, and everyone else. So thank you very much, Rose. And let's meet in the next episode where you continue to educate us about the next steps. We are talking about family matters where law meets life. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.